so next is 11C1, and it's the first reading of the bylaws and policy regulations, which Anthony addressed before. This is the first reading. We have to enter the first reading and then have a second reading next, and we'll approve it. I need a motion to approve the first reading of the bylaws and policy and regulations, which is on the addendum.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Okay. Let's see. There's no information items at this time. Fire and bus drills are in the packet. Suspensions also in your packet or email. Attendance reports and enrollment reports are also in your packet or email. Miscellaneous items. I need a motion to approve the facilities use calendar for the middle school and Holly Hills.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. The reports of school business administrator and board secretaries, information items none at this time. Cafeteria reports for January 20th are in your packet. Building inspection reports as listed. And now action items. With a motion to combine 13D1 through 13D6.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. 13D1 is Resolution 27-19, monthly reports of board secretary and cash reconciliation. 13D1A, Resolution 28-19, monthly reports for board secretary and cash reconciliation. 13D2, mileage reimbursement. 13D3, approval of transfer resolution number 2919. 13D4, approval of transfer resolution number 3019. 13D5, approval of Epic Health Services Agreement. And 13D6, approval of copier lease under state contract. Do we have any questions?
This, the health services agreement, is that a student that's from Westampton, or is that?
I believe it's that's one
Yes,
person.
it's a Westampton student.
33-year-old, yes.
Any other questions? Need a motion to approve.
So
Second.
All those in favor? I'm sorry, roll call.
Mrs. Applegate?
Yes.
Mrs. Denler?
Yes.
Mrs. DiNardo?
Yes.
Mr. Fagan?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Hines? Dr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley? Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Okay. We have no unfinished business, but I believe we do have some new business.
Yes, I apologize for bringing up new business at the board meeting, but things are happening very quickly, and I need the board's input on a couple of things that normally would have gone through committee. This Thursday, we have a middle school, is it eighth grade? Eighth grade trip planned to the Math Museum. Remember that trip that we had last year and this year? And we were discussing whether or not that it is wise to send our kids to New York City. My thought initially was, you know, we try to keep everything in perspective. The number of cases of the virus are a tiny fraction of the country's population. However, on the flip side is what seems to be the number one focus of health officials is transmission and how to minimize the risk of transmission. A meeting like this is not a danger, because if we just follow proper etiquette, and if you're ill, don't be here, and if you have to cough, you cover up. And we're not handling things with each other, but sending 80 kids into a New York City museum that is going to be frequented by thousands of people, and then having those 80 kids come back to a school of 500 made me think, Shanta brought the concern to me, made us think that perhaps we should err on the side of caution. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the matter. It was not a cheap trip. A good portion of it is borne by the students and their families. A portion of it was picked up by the board, but it was a pretty expensive trip. If that factors in or not, maybe it shouldn't even factor in, but we would have to try to get money back. Whether or not we're successful, I don't know. You should have to look at the cancellation policy, and it's not perfectly clear.
Well, it allows for rescheduling the trip,
Okay.
but it does not have a provision for a refund. So we would have to maybe try and call and see what we could do, but that's no
Is there
policy.
a cost for rescheduling, or is it just a straight?
There's no cost for rescheduling.
That's what the museum. And that total cost is.
Yeah, I think the board share was at $450. That's what she said. Yeah, it was 6 in my mind. It was 80 students at $50 a head for the student. So $4,480 total. So it was a pretty expensive trip to the families as well. So, the opportunity, if we could postpone, if nothing else, that buys us some time to make a more informed decision.
You say you contacted the museum?
I have not contacted them.
I just wonder if they have, because a lot of places are starting policies for either delay or cancellation because of it. And New York is one of the areas where the virus is a little bit more. Their governor has declared some restrictions, so maybe.
That's what I was thinking, in light of, health concerns, maybe be able to
And it, clearly indicate that that's the reason why for cancellation. For the bus part, it's our standard bus,
Could we take,
or we're taking another bus.
We have another bus.
we have a
It's-
coach?
Yes.
Coach bus.
What's the policy in regards to cancellation there?
That was going to be trickier. Historically, coach bus companies don't give back their money. I don't know if this is an extraordinary enough circumstance for them to, but, we can always ask.
The trip is scheduled for
Thursday.
this Thursday.
I think there's one person in all of Manhattan that has coronavirus right now, diagnosed. I don't know, we're worried about kids catching, bring it back. We're also going before a 3-day weekend. It doesn't affect children much.
But children transmit.
Children can transmit, true. I'm more on the side of what the parents decide. I don't know how the rest of the board feels on that. I mean, if we can reschedule it with no cost, maybe we would look at that.
Is New York in a state of emergency though? Does anyone know? Because that might make a big change.
I think
New York State
they are
state emergency.
So that might actually be beneficial to
It might.
rescheduling the trip.
It might. The state of emergency always sounds so
Yeah.
official, but really it's just about what funds they can,
Right.
they can access.
Gives them more flexibility to spend
Yeah.
money.
I don't think it actually limits anything.
Right.
We can certainly look into both the rescheduling of the trip, the refunding of the trip, and the refunding of the buses. But it is Thursday, so I would like to leave here with a decision tree. Well, what would be our most desirable, and if we can't get that, what's next kind of feel.
I would go for postponement.
Reschedule.
We can reschedule.
Yeah.
Then we take that opportunity, we don't lose any money, the kids may potentially still get to go on the trip. And if they can't go on the trip, that means that we have more information suggested to us we should. That makes perfect
Now,
sense.
the kids paid some on this, correct?
They paid the bulk of it,
They paid, okay. And each kid was paying how much?
$50. Yeah.
I saw something on the news today where a 27-year-old person went to a conference, came back to New Jersey, and 127 people at the conference are now sick. So think about all those kids in that tight area touching everything, and so I just, right now they might be cleaning it every day, but you don't know if they could reschedule. I think that would probably be.
Ryan, do you have any opinion?
I think rescheduling is probably the best thing that we can do. Like you said, there's probably one person in their head or something like that. I mean, it's a hysteria that, I don't know if it's warranting the attention it's getting. So I'm leaning towards not canceling. But if we can reschedule, I mean, that's the best.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see it canceled.
So are we saying if it can't be rescheduled, we're going to go through with it? Because I think Shonda wants, you all
That's my
want
next
something
one.
definitive.
Do we look for a refund, or do we look to, where do we go if we can't postpone it? My gut is that we should have a legitimate chance at postponement, simply because they're going to want, my guess is that those kinds of places are going to be taking a hit business-wise for months to come. And maybe they will be very excited about rescheduling as opposed to a cancellation. But we don't know that until we call. I mean, it's not like you're sending the kids to, you're being callous, because the parents obviously still have the choice to say. I guess we could ask for what happens if we have parents that have reconsidered because of the situation. If we can get some money refunded, I don't know if that's a possibility. We don't have 80 coming, but we still have 40 coming. Can we get half the money back? I don't know if that's
You mean with the
possible.
museum?
With the museum, yeah.
The museum you thought was definitely was rescheduled. It's the bus we're really worried.
You know what, if the museum helps us out, either with rescheduling or refunding part of it or something like that, and we end up eating the cost of a bus, then it's the price of dealing with the coronavirus. We got Khajiits and hand sanitizer and out of it, we might as well get a bus out, bus right now.
How many students are we talking?
80.
So is that the feeling, if we can postpone it, then postpone it? Bus or no bus?
And are we saying that if we can't postpone it, that we're still saying no? We're not going to go? Is that what?
I think if we can't, then we leave it up to the parents, right?
If we can't reschedule, we'll look into what kind of refund options that they're willing to give. If we can't get our money back and we can't reschedule, then we can ask the parents. If we only have 20 kids who are going to go, then we'll cancel.
But if the
Seven-
bus is already paid for?
If 75 parents say they want to go, then I guess we go. Parents should have that right to.
But the bus is paid for whether 20 kids go or 80 kids go.
I mean, I'm speculating. We're not
No, but I'm
gonna
just
buy-
saying, the bus is paid for, period.
Yeah,
So whether either we eat
Two
the bus
buses.
or we don't.
conceivably, we could take one bus if enough kids wanted to drop out, but And then after, if we get down the chain here down to parent choice, then we'll just do it based on numbers.
So then, in essence, we're saying it does turn on money, it's not turning on.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think rescheduling is a very responsible thing to do.
But if we can't
Refunding
reschedule-
means we lose out on the trip, but at least we get some of the parents' money back. And if neither of those come through, all we're saying is we'll let parents make a decision over us, rather than us impose, listen, we don't think it's safe enough for your kids to go. We're gonna let the parents decide if they're comfortable with it. And if most of the parents don't want to go, we cancel the trip.
Only question, we're saying that, but if, let's just say they did contract it and bring it back, that could spread to other people. You see what I'm saying? It's not just,
Yeah.
that's the problem, not just the kids on the bus, it's then, I agree. I don't know how big of a deal it is, but I mean, the way things are nowadays, and
Yeah, but that means nobody can go anywhere for the 3 days, like we have a 3-day
Right.
vacation, not like everybody's not gonna go to the mall or the library or the food store, like, and you're touching everything.
No, but there is a heightened concern that the students then return.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, it's like, at what point are we just like terrified to do anything either?
I agree with that.
That's
True, that's true, because.
Because you're not going to stay in your house that 3 days. You're going to go do something.
Right, but that is a call that you
we
can
have
make
a
for
trip
you and your
week
family.
as a
All we're
parent,
suggesting
so
is
the
let them-
parent decides.
But our point is, they're still going to come to school.
Exactly. They're still going to come to school, and Lily's birthday party Saturday at Sky Zone. That's a huge germ fest, but it's her 10th birthday. It is what it is, I'm not going to have those 10 kids
handing
over
out
to her
goodie
party
bags
at
to
Lily.
say-
What's that? What?
Your goodie bags have hand
No,
sanitizer.
no, there's no hand sanitizer to be put in the goodie bags. But I'm just saying, they're going to go out and touch things and bring it back, whether they go to New York City with their parents or on the class trip. I have no opinion on it. I'm just saying.
Sounds like you
Sounds
kind of
like
do.
it is.
I heard
Just
it.
like-
I think reschedule, but if you can't, then leave it up to the parents. And do it if a certain percentage don't want to do it, then it's over and you have to eat the money.
Are we gonna if it goes to that point and we're leaving it up to the parents, are we gonna let the parents know that we went through step A and B?
Sure. Yeah. might as well.
And because then it would be clearly letting the parents know that we have a concern with the environment and the safety of it.
So we look to reschedule, if not, we look to look for refund. If not, then we will contact the parents and say, we've tried to reschedule, we've tried to get a refund. But we haven't been able to do either of those, so we need to show hands who wants to go.
And if we get to less than 50%, we cancel it.
And are the teachers comfortable
Because 50% still
going
allows us
too?
one bus.
The supervisors.
Right?
I said, and if the teachers are comfortable with going.
Mhm.
Do we know, have any of the teachers that are chaperones expressed a concern?
No one sent an email.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I just needed, it seems like we've got everybody's in general agreement to go to that one. Yeah. All right, excellent. My second thing. We have this plan we have to submit to the county is going to require some extensive, some substantial, I don't know, let's not say extensive, some substantial work on the part of our teachers, and it will be necessary for them to collaborate. The intent is that if we are closed for an extended, let's just make it for instance, if we're closed for 2 weeks, the state shuts the schools down for 2 weeks and allows us to count 10 days of remote learning as 10 school days, then while we are making accommodations for those without internet access and free lunches and all that stuff, we need our teachers to plan quality instruction as much as quality as it can be, using the resources that we currently have available. That's not going to happen in a vacuum with teachers teaching classes all day and having a 45-minute prep in the time frame that we need it done. My feeling is that if this is going to happen, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. We're watching things happen all around us, Marion schools, Bucks County. It seems Princeton University, Rowan University, I heard that was with the end of the day today. So, you know, we're really hoping that we get to that half of it's spring break. You know, if everything works out. But my point being is that we want first grade teachers, for instance, to make first grade lessons, not 5 different sets of first grade lessons where first graders are doing different things in different amounts. We want 7th grade social studies students to be doing the same work. So we need our teachers to have time together, and we need to do it in a relatively short period of time. Southampton and a couple other districts around us have already announced that they are doing a, whatever you want to call it, an emergency early dismissal day. And I was looking for thoughts on us trying to pull that off for this Thursday. My concern is twofold. One, short notice of an early dismissal is incredibly challenging to parents for child care purposes. And two, if we are looking at a school closure for an extended period of time, we're already seriously putting parents behind the 8 ball with child care issues. And now we're going to add another day that they have to worry about getting home early or finding somebody to watch kids. On the flip side, I honestly don't know. You know, we kicked around some ideas of how we could owe teachers time, but that doesn't create time for them to physically. If we had an early dismissal day, teachers would be in the buildings, they'd be here with, it's not an in-service day, so we don't have anything else scheduled. The only thing that they have to do for that time period is meet with their colleagues in their grade level or their subject area and fill in this template that we're creating. We're going to do this on day 1 with these resources: links, PDF files, links to videos, links to articles. That's what we're doing on day 1 in math. Day 1 in language arts, this is what you're doing. And we need to get that onto the website. We need to make sure that everybody can access it. This is not going to happen without some collaboration and some time with people together. So I'd like to do it, but I'd also like to hear your feelings, because it is going to be it is a challenge to our parents.
So the parents that are challenged, can we offer them some kind of like the after-school program?
The first thing we'd have to do is make sure that our after-school program can run like they do on an early dismissal
Right.
day.
Like, I would think that
They have
would
to
be
get
huge
their
for parents
staff
that are
in.
going to struggle
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I'm confident we'll be able to pull that off, because they do it during the year when there's a scheduled
Right.
early dismissal day. I don't know that, I can't, but I'm confident they can pull that off.
Could they get extra staff? Because I feel like there might be some kids
Additional?
that go for the day.
I'd have to ask.
What she said?
Extra staff.
Yeah.
Like, what would the aides and stuff do? Like, the teachers gonna be planning, what about aides on the house?
That's a good point. We would have our support staff
Because they're not
available
doing that stuff.
to help with.
Unusual.
Maybe we could even, with the aides, open up something here too, not just at Allianz.
Right, like
they'll be playing too.
That's right, well, they still have to do specials during,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, every subject with New Jersey standards, we have to follow the rules as if we were in class. which
Okay,
is-
so this, the aides then, the support staff.
Make the kids run a mile.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting lesson plans. You should see how I worded that guidance for the PE team. Staying fit and healthy while not in school, I think is the theme of the PE lessons. Those are good ideas. I didn't think about that.
I'm support staff, so. I-
Good.
I wish.
So your official recommendation is to do that day?
My gut's telling me that if we don't do that, our plan is going to be considerably weaker. If a teacher asks me, when am I going to meet with my third grade peers? Or when am I going to meet with my social studies peers? I don't know what the answer to that is.
I'd say, yeah.
If we had a month, we could do it. But I'm worried that this is going to come down on us sooner rather than later. I just want us to be as prepared as possible.
What about assistance from PTO and or parent, or mothers or whatever, also providing some in-school assistance during the, if you're going to have early dismissal
I mean,
for additional
Yeah.
people?
I think with the support staff idea, I think actually
That should
we're
suffice.
staffed. Yeah, that sounds a really good idea.
And not all kids are gonna stay.
Right, no, I mean, some of the older kids are fine going home.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just elementary and
And
middle
then
school.
Fourth, fifth grade.
middle school's closed on Friday, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're closed.
So
Your only issue there is field trip, if it doesn't get canceled, right?
Yeah, how many kids are gone for that?
yeah,
Teachers?
that's
And you
it.
have the teachers issue.
Yeah.
So those teachers won't be able to plan during that time, right?
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come. So, support for an emergency early dismissal day, I'll communicate that tomorrow, and go from there. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Next, we're going to open it up for public comment on non-agenda items only. Any public comment? And board president's report. I did go to the play. It was excellent. I think back when I was in middle school, I don't think they could have pulled off a play like that, kids, because there's a lot of kids in that. One of the things I noticed reading the program is the kids did a lot of the choreography. It wasn't, they didn't steal it from someone, the kids actually did it, they came up with it. So it's really great to see that many kids involved in a play that, like Anthony said, it's tough to get up there in front of your peers. I couldn't have done it. So last week was kind of a fun week for all the kids with all the Spirit Week and everything. It was a good week around here. And we moved this week. I just want to commend the administration and also the teachers union. I know everyone's working together. This isn't a fun thing. It's something I don't think anyone here has had to deal with. So you can see that a lot of thought's already gone into it and a lot of hard work with everyone. So thank you all. Has been properly advertised in compliance with requirements and sunshine law. I'd like to start with a moment of silence and then pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Applegate.
Here.
Mrs. Denler. Mrs. DiNardo.
Here.
Mr. Fagan.
Here.
Mr. Hamilton.
Here.
Mr. Hines. Dr. Nichols.
On my little
I can come visit.
Mr. Whitley. Mr. Wright.
Here.
Mrs. Denler.
Here.
Put tardy next time.
Like in school, you know?
I'd like to welcome all of our visitors closer. It's only slightly ironic we did this in the middle of the coronavirus scare. But thank you for coming. And now I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain? And no presentations at this time. I would like to open it up for public comments on agenda items only. And no public comments. We'll move on to district department reports. Westampton Middle School.
I have a middle school and so last week we celebrated Read Across America Week for WIS. They had the PTO sponsor an author and illustrator visit. Doug Florian visited the school and presented an assembly to the WIS students, and he shared his experiences and creative process as a published writer and illustrator. And the middle school students were also able to meet with him if they were interested to engage in a writer's workshop. So we had about 60 students who were interested and met with him and were able to kind of go through that writing process with him as well. For WIS, a committee of teachers planned fun activities for the students each day, and the PTO sponsored a snack for the students as well. And our middle school student council also visited WIS and Holly Hills classrooms to read to the students and engage in like arts and crafts activities with them. At the end of Read Across America Week for WIS, they had their pep rally. It was organized by Maria and Tom Yorkie, and they were supported by Julia Beekman, Megan Riley, Mike Leone, and Tony D'Amato. The kids battled through relay races, the green and white teams competing, and they had a lot of fun. WMS also had a pep rally, but that was the previous week. During that pep rally, we also had the relay races between the green and the white teams. We also had the staff versus student volleyball game. Staff won, but they were a little sore the next day. And we also had the debut of the Dance and Cheer Club.
Which I heard was amazing.
Yes, they really did a wonderful job. They did do a wonderful job.
Heard? You weren't there.
But I've heard that people are like, can't wait to do it next year.
And the students, they're looking for additional opportunities to perform, so we're trying to work on that. On March 20th, the middle school will have a dance hosted by the student council, and on the 27th, WIS will have a dance hosted by the PTO.
We also had Read Across America last week with a lot of events planned by the teachers. PTO also planned an author visit for us, so students got to participate in activities throughout the day with the author, and they also provided a special snack for us as well. We're in the middle of access testing across the district, which is our state testing, standardized testing for our English language learners. And this week we have some trainings that are happening for K-5 math teachers as part of the Department of Ed pilot program that we're in for math. So we're beginning some training phases regarding that.
And special services.
I forgot something really important, actually. Sorry. I wanted to congratulate the cast and crew of the Curtains musical. I don't know how many people were able to come out and see it, but they did a wonderful job. And the teachers associated with that were John Condolian, John Tornquist, Tony D'Amato, Megan Riley, and Gina Everett. They did a wonderful job with the students.
If I can comment on that, the first performance was for their classmates, and very gutsy. The middle school administration decided to put every middle schooler in the cafeteria at once to watch the performance. Of note was I mean, it was packed, if you can imagine, the 300 plus kids in there. Of note was a tremendous performance by the cast, especially the big musical numbers, which were just a lot of fun to watch. But the also of note was the respect and that the classmates gave their peers that were up on the stage. You would expect if you put 300 middle school kids in a room and turn out the lights, that nothing good could come of it, is what I would have guessed. But they were respectful, they were polite, they applauded at the appropriate times, they gave huge rounds of applause for during the curtain calls. So I was really proud of the whole student body that day.
Yes, we did. Okay, so.
So annual review meetings began last week, and they will continue to be ongoing through May. And I'm continuing to work with the building principals on scheduling and programming going forward.
And then let's get the HIB report.
For the month of February, we had one HIB per building for intermediate, middle school, and Holly Hills. All three were confirmed. We only had 3 for the month of March.
Well, everything in my report is COVID related. That's all it seems that we're talking about, at least at the district levels. So we got last Thursday night, we received a broadcast from the Department of Education, and the broadcast announced that the school districts should submit plans to their county superintendent for the contingency of schools being closed for an extended period of time for health-related issues, public health-related issues. So essentially what the news was that the governor and the commissioner of education were telling districts that should the health department order schools to close because of COVID-19, that with an approved plan, a school district can use days that they do home instruction or distance learning, whatever you want to call it, online instruction, would count towards the 100-day mandatory number of days. Right now in New Jersey, you can't do any kind of online learning and have it count for days. You have to have 180 days that the school is open and kids can attend. The commissioner and the governor were telling districts that they are preparing for the case where they would order schools to be closed, and the only way it would count towards there are 2 criteria for the days to count towards the 180 days. One is that you have an approved plan with the county, and 2, that the days were ordered shut by the state. So I couldn't say, you know what, let's close for a week and make sure everything's okay. The state would have to order us closed, and then with an approved plan at the county, we would be able to count those, try to do instruction remotely and count those days toward the 180. Reading the tea leaves and watching districts around us and surrounding states and in this state react to the crisis, we thought it prudent to get right on it. So we spent a good deal of Friday, and I'll include Kathy Mack in that, emails flying back and forth, trying to talk about the structure of what such a plan would look like. Over the weekend, I was in touch with all the administrators, and then today we spent essentially the entire day in my office trying to hammer out what this plan would look like to submit to the county. During all of that, we made some decisions to try and be proactive, knowing some things that the plan might require. Knowing that some of our plans may include materials going home with students, Karen put in an order for additional copy paper, so that we don't run out of copy paper in such a circumstance. It's not something that we won't use eventually, so if we ordered too much, we'll just use it in future months. We did manage to get hand sanitizing stations that are portable. They're on stands to put at the entrances at all the buildings. We attempted to get alcohol-based hand sanitizer, which we haven't used for years. We use alcohol-free, but we attempted to get alcohol-based hand sanitizer, but it's the only stock going up is the hand sanitizer market. We did get in touch, Bob McDonald got in touch with I apologize, but this is the name of it, a company called Khajiit, where the product is called Khajiit, K-A-G-E-E-T. What Khajiit does, it is a hotspot that comes with a data plan. So we ordered a bunch of Khajiits with the intent that if we have students that do not have internet access at home, that we would be able to provide them both a device and a hotspot for whatever time we're closed. One of the big pieces of the plan to be submitted to the county emphasized accessibility. We don't want students who don't have internet access to be left out of instruction for whatever time we would be closed. In addition to that, I met with Pam Capasso from NutriServe this morning. Karen was in touch with Will's bus service. If the building is physically closed or students are not here, but the days are counting, everybody's still at work, so to speak, right? So our bus contract and our cafeteria contract, all the employees, I mean, everybody's on the job. So we also needed to submit a plan as to how we were going to address our free and reduced lunch students, lunch and breakfast students, if the buildings were closed. So meeting with NutriServe and Karen talking to Will's, our proposed plan, and we have not got confirmation from either source yet, but like I said, they're still working for us, we're still paying them, is that NutriServe would prepare our bagged lunches, where they would include the next day's breakfast in. We've already started out in my office organizing bus routes by free and reduced lunch student count, and we would use our bus routes to deliver lunch to the bus stop, and the parents would have to meet the bus if they so desired. But that would have us in compliance with taking care of our students who may not have a lunch or breakfast, and also help us reach students who may not have internet access or a device. We'll be sending out surveys to parents to try and find out who might need to borrow a Chromebook, and we'll have a plan in place for signing out as if it were a library book, essentially, and to be returned when school is back in order. There was a lot going on. 2 very lengthy email drafts for staff and for parents were drawn up. The surveys were drawn up. A template for teachers to submit their lesson plans is in the works, and you will notice on tonight, in tonight's meeting, on an addendum, I believe, right? An addendum, a change to bylaw 0161. 0161 talks about the call to order of regular board meetings. We wanted to add an addendum to that bylaw that states that we could have a board meeting remotely if it was necessary because schools were closed because of a health concern. So that's been the Monday that we had here at Westampton. So we're going to have a flurry of activity again tomorrow. We should have communication going out to teachers and parents tomorrow to help us prepare for this eventuality, and hopefully it is all effort and that never has to be implemented. Hopefully we'll have a great plan that we never use. That's all.
Have we done a survey to know which students don't have internet?
No, that's
going to be
that's going to be
included in
going
that.
out. Yeah, that's the survey's created. We just haven't sent it out yet. We did that today.
And I do know at one time, and I believe they still do it, Comcast actually makes internet available.
We send that. We send information about that Comcast home to everyone who qualifies for free and reduced lunch in September. So we're hopefully a lot of people have taken advantage of that. And I know it sounds a little silly that we're sending home a digital survey for people who don't have internet access, but people don't have. We're calling it internet access, and that's not right. We should be calling it broadband or Wi-Fi, not internet access, because we have no reason to believe, and we think we would know if a parent didn't have internet access, but you're talking about cellular access. So they all have phones. Most people have phones. They can get email on their phones. They get text messages. They get phone calls. So the communications that we send home through School Messenger, where the phone rings or the text goes off or an email is sent, that's getting to people. But we don't want our students to have to work on schoolwork on a cell phone. So we want to be able to have a laptop connected to Wi-Fi, and that's. So we think people will be able to respond to the survey because it will go out, and we made sure it looked good on a phone so that they can answer the question right on the phone.
The Kajit devices, do we buy them?
The Kajit devices, whether the salesmen tell me the truth or not, said that this was their contribution to the crisis. They are free of charge, the devices.
We'll return them.
No, we have to pay for the data plans.
Right. And then
So, no, when it's done, they hope
we return.
No, they hope we keep them and keep the data plans. Because obviously they get a cut of money from Verizon for everybody they sign up on the data plan.
Okay. And then the free and reduced lunch, will there be an opt-out? Obviously we can't make them opt-in, but an opt-out so that maybe the bus doesn't drive it all over.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's going to be, we're going to do the same thing. We're sending out information just to the parents who qualify for free and reduced lunch, saying this is our plan. Do you want this? And then we'll have a count, and we'll have a count by bus route, so that the bus drivers can then they'll stop at the regular stops and deliver. The Kajits, we had looked into the Kajits before, and just on their website, they were $100 a device, and they made them free, as I said, as their contributions.
Okay. Any other questions? Back to our regularly scheduled program. And facilities report.
Not much to say following that. The custodians have been ordered to be extra vigilant in their cleaning and disinfecting of the classrooms, making sure to wipe down all the hard surfaces that could be touched to hopefully keep this from spreading.
Now on to budget committee reports. Make a motion to combine 11.8.1 through 11.8.10. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 11A1 is for payment of bills. 11A2, payment of cafeteria account bills. 11A3, approval of substitute teachers, support staff, and custodians. 11A4, approval of CPI training prep hours. 11A5, approval of literacy night staff members. 11A6, approval of supplemental reading instruction. 11A7, approval of volunteerism and community club staff members. 11A8, submission of the 2021 annual budget. 11A8, there was an addendum to it, and that was handed out at the door or to you at the beginning. This was in their agenda, right? Public agenda?
It was next to it.
Okay. All right, so that has changed slightly. Thank you. 11A9, approval of Holly Hill School classroom aid. And 11A10, approval of WMS homework club advisor. Any questions on any of this?
Well, no. For 11A5, this is in addition to the ones that we already approved?
That was a different night, wasn't it? Wasn't that the math night?
Say it
We
again?
did literacy and math combined night, and then this was a literacy only night, so.
Okay, it's a different night, it's a different event.
Ah, okay. And the hours for prep have to be, therefore, are different?
Yes, because two teachers planned the whole event, so that's why their hours are more. The others are just manning the station during the event.
Can you describe the event a little bit?
It's a literacy tied event, so all the students, basic skills students were invited. They're coming in to do a literacy activity as a whole group, and then they're breaking off the stations. There are literacy events at each station. So parents are rotating with their child to different stations, and teachers are manning those stations for each activity. That's why some are listed at 1.25 hours for the setup and cleanup of the event, and being at the event, and the other two teachers who plan what each activity is going to be a couple more hours.
And I assume the ones from last week, which we already approved, they were at much greater hours?
Yes.
And then another quick question on 11A9, the Holly Hills classroom aide. Did both of you interview her? And for the homework club, didn't we already approve board party?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, we approved her last month, February 10th, if I'm looking at the right thing. And we're putting in to approve again as homework club advisor. Just throwing out there.
Okay. Well, that's to no advantage or disadvantage to her, because
No, I'm just saying.
she wouldn't be getting double the stipend. That's just $32.87 an hour for whoever's happens to be doing the homework club that night. They put in a time sheet when they do so.
Okay, and it's paid on an hourly basis.
Correct.
And it's up to the 11:30.
Up to the 11:30, right? I'm right on that, right, Karen?
Yes.
Paid on the hourly by the time sheet.
Theoretically, we could have 9 people at 11:30.
No.
Well, board party was listed last month.
Right.
Well, I'm even eliminating
No,
her.
the activity is going to cost 11:30.
30 altogether.
Total.
Not per person.
Oh, it's total.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be like when they split stipends between two people.
Okay.
This is just a way so that they take turns doing the.
Okay, no problem.
Side note, I understand that's well attended, the homework clubs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I like the concept.
I do have one question on 11A7. There's no hourly limits or requirements on that. It looks like we're just paying them that much.
The 1130 is a C stipend, so it follows the 35 hours. Right.
35 hours. So they're required to work 35 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
The minimum of it.
Yeah.
Wording is.
All right. Any other questions?
I'm gonna like throw a real monkey wrench in. We're doing homework club, and I know we've talked about suspensions and things. Is there any way, instead of folks being suspended for 2 days, that somehow it can be integrated into this homework club or separate from it or what have you, since we're approving so many people for homework club, and have their suspension be in school, after school, and have it, again, appropriate to whatever the discipline is, not just 2 days on a Thursday and Friday or 2 days on a Monday and Tuesday. So they have a nice long 4-day weekend. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out there. I just don't, and I've said it several
Absolutely.
times.
And I don't think you will find that any of the, and I'm looking at Shante and Anthony, any of the three of us disagreeing with the philosophically that, and I know that things that they have tried are pseudo in-school suspensions where the students are spend the time with you for lunch
And then they have an after-school detention.
and then they have an after-school detention, but they still go to their academic classes, and other kinds of ways to patch a suspension so that the students are in school more than they are out. I do believe that in some cases that the offense is so egregious that an in-school suspension sends an inappropriate message to both the student, their parents, and the student body at large, without going into details about what those, but you know our code of conduct, and so you know some of the things that a middle schooler may get suspended for. And sometimes it's, hey, you can't do that. You just can't do that. You can't be here if you're going to do that. Take a day off. And
And that's what I hear, take a day off. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
But I understand.
what you're
I
saying.
understand what you're saying. But there are behaviors where you say over the line. I've got kids watching you do this, and if you show up to school tomorrow, what message did I just send to them? I've got teachers watching that. What happens if you come to school tomorrow? What happens then? I've got parents who say, the school's going to take care of it because he's going to school anyway. Sometimes an out-of-school suspension is warranted. I agree with you. I agree with them that we want to minimize it.
And a lot of times from, I guess, even the board's perspective, we're not even obviously really aware of what the actual offense is. If you see something like, I think today, with vulgar language, out of school for 2 days, as opposed to in school, after school, writing a report or doing some research.
And if you saw our code of conduct, you know that the first offense of that is not an out-of-school suspension.
So, okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I hope you understand that there are.
I'm saying, I'm seeing all these people we're approving for a homework club after school. So if we're having after-school homework club and we paying these folks for that, and we have 5 or 10 students or however many at homework club, the 1 or 2 who are being suspended for 2 days can be in another section of the same room with some kind of specific assignment that is addressed specifically to whatever their disciplinary problem
Oh,
is.
after their suspension is served.
No.
Well, what do they do during the day?
Huh?
What are they doing during the day?
They're going to be in class.
Oh, so you're just giving them a detention?
Well, call it whatever you want to call it.
Okay, I just trying to
Yeah.
understand what you thought. Yeah, okay.
How many staff members are on for homework club?
We have,
No, that one time, I think they take turns. So let's say homework club's on Tuesday, how many staff members are there on Tuesday? One. That's what I was thinking, yeah, so they take turns, there's only one at
I
that.
understand that. How many staff members do you need to staff a room for homework and for one in-school, if you want to call it in-school suspension?
For all day?
No.
No, because
After
I
school.
think out-of-school suspension is punishment for the parent, not the kid. The kids love it.
Yeah, that's my point.
I
I
know,
don't
but
think
I
out-of-school
know.
suspension is, really serves the
It doesn't
purpose.
serve anything.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But I understand that he's just, Dr. Petrozelli is just saying that the offense is so bad that they just can't be here, I guess. But
when
I'm just
see-
saying,
When I see the offense is vulgar language.
Right.
That's 2 days out of school. That's what
It
was
wasn't
here,
the first
and
offense.
probably it's not their first offense, it's their second offense,
Then I don't
which
know
means they
what- I don't
didn't
know
learn
what
from
they
their
said.
first offense, which means
I
they
mean,
got
we
set
can't,
in detention.
we can't discuss the particulars in public.
I'm not
Because
discussing
I
the
understand that,
particulars.
but what I'm saying is that you're making assumptions about what happened, and I can't speak to them.
And I
A,
just-
because I don't know, but they certainly do.
Okay, and
But
I just
can't-
made
but I
a
can't
statement
ask
that
them
what the
to.
board sees, we just see general language.
I understand.
And I recognize that clearly there's a whole lot more to it,
I
okay?
appreciate that.
But, just 2 days out of school, just,
It's probably better
That's
for a
just my
committee
position.
discussion.
say it again?
So it's probably better for a committee discussion.
I
so-
agree.
So that we can speak with more particulars.
I agree.
Because I think that you'll find the administration very much on board with minimizing
Mhm.
out-of-school suspension.
And I have seen it go down. I will acknowledge that. I have seen change in this. So.
Any other questions? Just as a reminder, we're going to vote to approve 11A1 to 11A10 with the addendum, and we need a roll call.
Motion.
We need a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Roll call.
That's right, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mrs. Applegate.
Yes.
Mrs. Denler.
Yes.
Mrs. DiNardo.
Yes.
Mr. Fagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Hines. Dr. Nichols.
Yes.
Mr. Whitley. Mr. Wright.
Yes.
I need a motion to combine 11B1 to 11B5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Okay. 11B1 is approval of the 2020-2021 school calendar. 11B2 is approval of WMS math competition field trip, correction to that. 11B3 is approval of the 6th through 8th grade jazz band members to Holly Hill School. 11B4 is approval of WMS music program fundraiser. And 11B5 is the approval of volunteerism and community involvement club. Any questions?
You look at me?